Good morning and welcome to Magical Monday Musing for the week of 5/18/2015. And also we have a new moon today to invite into our work as we proceed with another week of gathering together as a Circle Magica community and working with the double decks, the Wildwood Tarot and the Rider-Waite deck. So hopefully you all had a balanced week, a week of temperance. We had a Women's Circle of Power last Thursday, and a lot of us were talking about how much the cards really helped us, and we could really relate to the messages and the reminders in the midst of some challenges to stay on the mark and work with the energies of the balance and of the temperance that we were all focusing on. So I know for me it definitely was humorous because I have intensified some of my physical activity, and when that happens sometimes vertigo kicks up, something I acquired years ago. And so of course, I mean, the ultimate symbol of challenge with balance came forward for me. So learning to be balanced within all aspects of our being. We never really know how it's going to come about. So learning to manage the different aspects of self-care and productivity and rest, and keeping that inner compass aligned with that North Star, if you will, so you can moderate and fluctuate and go with the flow as the circumstances evolve and come forward in the moment, so you can tap in and know how to work with those. The cards and the archetypes, sit right there with us. So it's a great opportunity for us to pause and to remember that as often as possible, and know that we can call on not only our greater community, but also the cards themselves to help reestablish that sense of connection to the messages. So I hope you all had a really powerful and effective week using the energies that we worked with last week. And this week we have a suit card, and it's one that I don't believe we've ever chosen before. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you because it's another great message, and certainly one I can identify with in pretty much every aspect of what's going on in our lives. And I hope that it has some powerful and useful guidance for you this week too. So we're going to go ahead and switch gears and get into our meditation so we can center ourselves and open to all of the guardianship and all of the spirit connection that we have available to us. And then we'll talk about the cards and see how they might reflect in your week. Okay, so as always, I invite you to settle in and find your physical comfort, whether you are reclining or in a seated position. And allow yourself to take 3 deep breaths in and out at your own pace. And as you inhale and exhale, allow there to be no forcing, no rushing, or no need to try to figure out the way to breathe. Just let your body breathe in the ways that feel comfortable to it. And they may change from inhalation and exhalation to inhalation and exhalation. It's perfectly fine and normal. But as you use the breath as an anchor and as a point to establish settling into your body and allowing a greater sense of relaxation, let your mind become aware of how that body responds to the breath. Noticing that you might experience a softening in certain parts of your physical body. Maybe your muscles start to become softer, more relaxed, more pliable, settling into whatever position that you've taken to relax. Knowing that every cell in your body is being bathed in oxygen, nutrition as you breathe, helping the blood to move through the body to bring nourishment and release toxins and move out waste products. With each breath that you take, let yourself fall into a place of peace within your thought patterns. And so if you find that you have distractions or there are things that you're thinking about the beginning of the week, and maybe there's a number of things you need to attend to, just for this time, let yourself set those aside and just focus on coming back to the breath and coming back to the body if your mind should wander. So using the breath to bring you that sense of inner peace and awareness, compassion for self and kindness. And so as we deepen our meditation now, we invite in the grounded presence of the Mother Earth, of the lower and middle and upper worlds, and all of our plant and spirit and animal allies that would wish to join us today. In this invitation, we include welcoming our ancestors, loved ones, and friends in spirit that might wish to contribute in a positive way. The angelic realms, the master teachers, sky and star beings, our own divinity, and that still voice within that guides us in our lives. And if there are any other teachers that you would like to invite now, you go ahead and do that. And of course, inviting in the archetypes and the messages, the energies from the cards themselves this week. Setting your intentions for how you would like to receive and work in this week that we have ahead of us. Moving our way through the month of May. And whether silently or speaking aloud that which it is that you would like to focus, do that now. And when you're ready, let's give a silent note of thanks for this opportunity to work together as this community of not only the Magical Monday Musings, but also Circle Magica. And for this opportunity to sit together and learn and grow and advance on our understandings of self and source and all that is. So mote it be. So go ahead and open your eyes now and bring yourself back to this moment of time, and we can begin our discussion and exploration of the cards that we have collectively chosen this week. So this week we are working with the sixes, and we're working with the sixes of, in the Wildwood deck, it's the arrows, and transition is the word that goes with it. And in the Rider-Waite deck, it is the Six of Swords. So we're working with pointy things again, but in our own way, we're carrying forward that element of balance, because if we talk for a little bit about six before we move into the archetypes of the cards themselves, six is a number of balance, isn't it? So some would say you could think of the image of the Star of David, or three above or three below. It also can represent the balance of divine feminine and masculine. And it can be a number that speaks to even completion of settling and bringing things to a grounded, centered, balanced place. So we have the sixes seemingly moving with us into this week, carrying that energy of balance from last week for us. But as we move into working with the arrows and the swords, we're working with our thought processes, we're working with the intellect, the mind, and so we're making a shift into a dramatic state of being able to work with how our processes are going to need to, mental and thought processes are going to need to be updated and to change, to come in order to go with the flow of life and with the flow of what can be some new and stimulating experiences, we need to update and upscale even our mental processes, our thought processes, and how we go about our daily lives, and how we deal mentally with stimulus that is presented to us. So just going to switch into intuitive mode and say that there are some of us that have been kind of in a rut or in a stagnant place. And so we're getting an opportunity this week within the framework of thought processes or mental stimulation, or how we are, some of us have sort of our standard ways that we would address something that would come up, and how we would like kind of adopt our, go through our Rolodex of responses and pick out the one that might, go with a particular experience. But this week we're going to be asked to update, to upgrade, to recognize that there's room for advancement in order to avoid stagnation, and in order to allow us to go in with open hearts to receive something new, like new opportunities or new ways of engaging and looking at things, so that we can move beyond where we've been. So when you look at the Wildwood Tarot card, there's this great image of this ship with a sail that's set, with the beautiful image on the sail of the arrows. It's you can feel the richness in the symbology of this card. And there's also an image of the boat on the Six of Swords, where you see the three people in the boat, and you can recognize or symbolize each person as being an aspect of self, like the masculine, the feminine, and the child. And so there's that the aspect of the three, which is half of the six, but it's the energy of threes, of six, and that Holy Trinity, and of you being on that journey, because the transition, we're talking about the journey, right? We're talking about moving forward. So, we're talking about forward momentum. We're talking about being able to step into greater, whether it's productivity, creativity, being able to step into ourselves in a new regard, and doing that with confidence and with enthusiasm, and with maybe shifting your perception of how you're working with your circumstances. So for some of you, I feel like it could be that what you're going to bring to your game this week, it's not so much about like maybe you're in the same circumstances, but it's what you're bringing to it and shifting internally your mental processes that are going to open some doors for you and allow either more breathing room or less conflict, or a greater sense of innovation. And because the way you relate to what your circumstances are, even though maybe there's no change on the horizon for you that you can see, maybe you don't even really feel like you're in that boat, but the fact is that it's what you do with what you're given and how you shape it that could make it feel more enlivened and fresh this week. So you may be going in and sitting at the same desk. It may be the same phone, the same colleagues, the same pile of paperwork, but maybe what you're doing with it within yourself is creating that shift with, this day I'm going to try this. I'm going to look at this with new eyes and see what I can do for my own process, for my own intellect and stimulation. So for some of us, we will know right away. I know there are some of you that are watching where it does feel stagnant, where it does feel like it wants an infusion of the new, where it does feel like you are ready and feeling yourself on that boat, and do feel yourself in transition. So it's a time where you can allow yourself to feel an excitement about that, and a happiness. And although there could be some intimidation, there could be some of like, I don't know how this is all going to play out, or I'm not really sure I have the chops for this. You can meet with the benefit of these cards, new situations, and just, have that sense of being rooted in yourself and opening to the divine to help bring you information and bring you what you need to know as you are with the thing itself. So while there are times where we all have to prepare whether it's for a meeting or an encounter or something that you are going to need to deal with. There's also that piece about do that, but then there's that piece about just standing in the self and inviting in the awareness part of it, which can really open and give space to any experience for the highest outcome and expression of it. So maybe you'll remember that this week as you're going about your experiences with your thought processes, or how you typically engage with the routine of your day, or if you have something non-routine coming up that you know about, or something that might surprise you this week that you weren't expecting. Like, how can you remember to work with the 6 of arrows and with the 6 of swords? How can you take those images in to yourself? Like, whether it is a visual or a feeling, or maybe you just focus on the number 6 itself, or maybe it's something that you put in your journal. Like, a lot of times I'll just take a color copy of the card, and I will put that in my journal. But you can even use this as a way to be creative, and again, working with that part of yourself that's the thinking aspect, and seeing how you are transitioning or moving, from one way of being to another. And for some of us, this is going to be an ongoing thing, like it often is. It's not just necessarily a week. You may just get a hint of it, or like some of our viewers and women and folks that I talk to have mentioned that they start to feel like the prelude of the card coming well before we're done with any particular week. So maybe you've already been sort of sensing and noticing the mental piece and the piece about stimulating the intellect in different ways, and watching and noticing how you process things and how you engage when it comes to needing to be doing a certain thing that requires your thinking. And so it could be a really kind of fun week to reinvent yourself a little bit in that way. And sometimes it's like we're being asked to be in ourselves and outside of ourselves at the same time and be the observer. So you can practice that this week and be the observer of yourself and your thoughts and the resulting actions from your thoughts, and see what transpires that way. See if you can consciously kind of make it a little more juicy for yourself and stretch a little bit, and where you might play it safe before, where can you step out and take a perceived risk this week, or just allow yourself to go like that extra step or mile. And it could be something very simple, but it might be that like you have a sticking point or a place where it's like you usually stop. Maybe this is the week to see if that's going to be a place where you're like, let me just tweak this a little bit. Let me take a couple extra steps in courage, or in curiosity, or in just wanting to know what's beyond that place. It's in the cards, the transition card, the Wildwood card. You see that you can see there's like land behind but moving forward, and so you've pushed off from that shore. You're actually launched into this transition. So how can you make this fun and invigorating for yourself? So I just want to see if there's anything else to mention to anyone before we close for this week. I feel like just a lot of people are experiencing this idea of transitioning and moving beyond limiting self-perceptions and giving ourselves a chance to grow new muscles in terms of how we orient ourselves with thought processes, and liberating ourselves from some antiquated ones. Let's see if there's anything else. I want to say that instead of the knee-jerk reaction of it being something that can be frightening or take us back, what if we were, I'm feeling there are some folks that might be the tendency, what if we were to step out in confidence and just say, hey, I got this. I may not know all of it. I may not know how to do certain parts of this, but there's a part of me that is capable of this. And so that's the part of me I'm going to align with. And so, you dig into your inner resourcefulness, and also that if you need to ask or you need to engage others, that you do that so that you can have this experience of expanding awareness, process, and how you engage in your daily life, no matter whether it's the personal world, the personal realm, the world of relationships, or whether it's your work or professional realm. It can go right across the board. So see where these allies want to take you this week, because I have a sense of some pleasant experiences and surprises and some nourishment coming from this, where it just kind of infuses you with this new life. So I hope you will let yourself have a sense of playfulness and excitement, enthusiasm, and confidence in yourself as you work with the Six of Arrows transition and with the Six of Swords this week. So with that in mind, I will wish you all a wonderful, powerful, and magical week. And if you haven't made yourself an official member of the Circle Magica and Magical Monday Musing community, you can just by jumping over to the website at circlemagica.com/subscribe and getting involved so that you can be a part of the community and work these spiritual practices with us as we go forward. So blessed be, my friends, and we'll see you again here next week.